What if you could build the absolute perfect AI-ready company from scratch? I mean, not with gut feelings or just guessing, but with pure, hard data. Okay, let's get right into this because today we're going to break down exactly how you can construct a total dream team using science.
First up, take a look at this. This is supposed to be the C-suite for a company called Vector Read Insights. You see the usual suspects, CEO, COO, CTO, but hang on, look closer. Instead of names, you've got these long, kind of weird codes. So what is going on here? Who are these people? This, right here, is the start of our puzzle.
And that, of course, leads to the big questions, right? How in the world do you even start building a perfect organization from nothing? And maybe more importantly, where did this all-star C-suite actually come from? Well, the answer is pretty fascinating, and it all boils down to data.
All right, time to pull back the curtain, because this isn't just some random org chart. It's a really carefully constructed blueprint for what success looks like.
So here's the big reveal. Vector Read Insights isn't a real company. You can't buy stock in it. It's a fictional organization, like a strategic model. It was built by analyzing a huge pool of real people to figure out the absolute best, most ideal structure for a company that wants to completely nail AI integration. So how'd they do it? How do you go from just a big group of people to a perfectly structured organization? Well, it all comes down to two really powerful ideas. Let's get into the secret sauce. First off, they used what's called a neuroscientific approach. Now think of this as going way, way beyond a simple resume. It's a method that looks at people based on their core cognitive and behavioral traits to scientifically predict how they'll perform. We're talking about measuring things like mental agility, how you solve problems under pressure, even your ability to think strategically. The stuff that actually drives success. And second, they applied Pareto's law. You've probably heard of this as the 80-20 rule. The basic idea is that in almost any situation, about 80% of the results come from just 20% of the effort, or, in this case, the people. So by applying this rule to all that rich scientific data, they could zero in on that elite 20%, the absolute top performers who bring in the most value. Okay, so now that we know how they found the top talent, let's get to the fun part, the who. This is where we see how that elite group of people got matched to the specific jobs they were practically born to do. Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around this whole thing is to think of it like a fantasy football draft, but for the corporate world. For real. You've got all the stats on every single player, their cognitive strengths, their behaviors, and you use that data to draft the absolute perfect person for every single position on the team. No guesswork involved. So with our top talent identified and ready to be drafted, it's time to actually build this company. Let's watch how the whole structure comes together, from the very top all the way down to the teams making it happen every day. And we're back where we started, but this time it all makes sense. The very first step was to pick that strategic core. This chart shows the result. A C-suite where every role is filled by a perfect data-driven match. For example, the data didn't just find a CEO with a good resume, it found a person with a neural profile that showed an incredible tolerance for ambiguity and an ability to synthesize tons of complex info, exactly what you need to lead an AI transformation. But look, a great strategy doesn't mean anything if you can't execute. So the next layer they drafted was the directors. For the director of AI implementation, for instance, the data pinpointed people who had this rare mix of deep systems thinking and really high emotional intelligence. That's the perfect combo to manage both the tech and the people through a huge change. And last but not least, you build the engine. The team leads. These are the folks on the ground making progress happen day in and day out. For change lead, the data didn't just look for a good project manager. No, it found someone with proven resilience and a massive capacity to influence others, which is absolutely essential for getting teams to actually want to work in new ways. And just like that, the entire structure is complete. So yeah, it's a really cool exercise. But you might be thinking, okay, so what? It's a fake company. Why does building a fictional organization like this actually matter for real businesses? Well, this is where you get the strategic payoff. Creating a blueprint like Vector Read Insights unlocks so much value. For a real company, it shows you what the ideal talent profile actually looks like for your most important roles. It immediately shines a spotlight on the skill gaps you might have on your current team. It gives you a data-driven roadmap for hiring and a benchmark to aim for as you grow, especially when you're trying to integrate something as massive as AI. See, it's not just a fantasy team, it's a map to a much better future.
Which really just leaves us with one final, kind of provocative thought. This entire, perfect organization was built by finding the hidden potential that was already there inside a pool of people. It really makes you wonder, Who is the next game-changing leader, the next top performer, hiding in your organization's data right now?